Greetings duplicates and welcome to the breach. After last episode's fun and games setting up the gas collection HUD, I've done a bit of work in the background. I have moved my power production facilities to the first slime biome I excavated, so I can collect all the polluted water in one place. My primary power supply is from the natural gas, and then I have coal generators as backup using the smart batteries to decide when to use what type of power generation. I've also set up 2 small power transformers to provide my power needs. Even though I've moved my power generators, this isn't a permanent setup at the moment. That will be all done later when I have access to cooling and steam generators, etc. This is not a very complicated setup and will be upgraded once I have access to large amounts of copper metal, so I can upgrade the wire to conductive. So this is what I was expecting to get done last episode, getting access to the cool slush geyser. I'm going to go in from below to drain out all the cold salt water that's already in there. It's going to be cold enough for my duplicates working in the ice biome without having them stand in the cold slush water as well. Accessing this vent is like gaining 2 resources at once. Obviously there's the water, but more importantly early on is the coolness that it supplies. Obviously that wouldn't matter on an asteroid like Rime, but I'm going to need to keep my base quite cool because I need to grow some plants later on. So I'm going to use the minus 10 degrees Celsius water from this vent to cool down the oxygen I produce to keep my plants in a growing temperature range. Obviously, because I'm recording this for footage, I'm watching what my duplicates are doing, and as per usual they make silly errors when they're building stuff. I've got one duplicate busy analysing the vent itself, and the other duplicates are lining the outer shell with insulated tiles. I don't know what's going to happen to the base over the next 100 cycles, so it's always best to insulate something that you want to keep at a certain temperature. Well, I now know it's not worth building a self-powered oxygen maker for the next 40 odd cycles. Thankfully I do have plenty of algae in reserve at the moment, but I will want to keep an eye on the 55 tons because I'll probably need some spare for when I start my rocketry program. Now that I know it's going to be 44 cycles before this vent activates, I can get some smaller tasks completed, get some serious digging done to improve my duplicate skills. Oh look, I'm micromanaging my duplicates again. I want to set up a temporary ore refiner and some ranches with some stone hatches because I'm going to be limited on how much lime I can produce without access to fossils in this asteroid. And there's our cold slush geyser collection. We finish it off with the water pump, the automation and conductive wire leading out of the area. So here we have a standard ranch set up. I'm feeding the hatches sedimentary rock to hopefully turn them into stone hatches. As you can see, I'm also building a gym for my duplicates. I want to push their athletics and operating skills up. The spare electricity they produce will power the incubator to speed up my access to the stone hatches. Replacing the door so we can limit which duplicates can access the gym. Then to finish the gym off, we hook up the light and the incubator to the hamster wheel. Once this is completed, we just need to choose which duplicate is going to do the workout. And we're going to choose Luna to be our first victim. As Luna is going to be pedaling on the hamster wheel, we might as well get an egg into the incubator to get some benefit from the work produced. And that's it, the gym's built, set up and working. This gym will improve Luna's athletics and operation. Obviously, the higher the athletics, the faster the duplicants will move, which is especially important when they're into atmospheric suits. If you set up a build and dig order like this and stepped away from the computer, for instance, to make a brew of tea, you could almost guarantee by the time the tea's brewed and you step back to the computer that one of your duplicants would have got trapped in some carbon dioxide and died. But there is a way to minimise these risks. First of all, we're going to set all our build priorities to 8. We then set the priorities of the 2 tiles below the ladders to a 6, and finally the bottom 2 tiles will be a 5. I've highlighted my construction in blue and my high priority dig commands in green. This should mean that there's always either a ladder below them if they fall, or just 2 blocks to climb over. Let's see if this all plays out. Let's speed this thing up. As you can see from the start, this project is digging down from what was our carbon dioxide sink. There is still a large amount of carbon dioxide down here, but it's all at low pressure because I'd pumped out most of the carbon dioxide into storage tanks for later use. But the first thing I'm going to do is start producing oxygen down here. I'll also build a fire pole to help my duplicants get down to this low level as fast as possible. Well, my duplicants with the digging skills are working really hard right now, which is great to see, but you can also see that the changing of the priorities for the dig and the build commands is really working out as well. This big dig down, so low down, was done for a number of reasons. One, I was running out of igneous rock. I also wanted access to some iron, and finally it'll help my duplicants skill up for when I send them over to the next asteroid. Even though this has been sped up to 10 times speed, I hope you can see that none of my duplicants managed to get themselves stuck or had to be rescued by me. Obviously this was an easy test, and the real test of this would be to dig through a caustic biome with all its open spaces and voids. I was just doing some exploratory digging and I came across this cool steam vent which wasn't erupting, so I decided to analyse it and close it off. So this is my second water source. Not as valuable early on in the game because you need to do some cooling to make the water worthwhile using unless you're just going to feed it directly into some oil wells. But the efficient collection of water from a cool steam vent does require an input of energy. So this is probably something we'll tap into more appropriately in the later game. But for now we'll just dig it out and analyse it. And any water we do collect will just be a bonus. My poor duplicates are struggling due to the lack of oxygen in the area, but there's no point me adding extra air into the hood because I'll be removing all of the gases anyway. So why add something just to remove it later on? And we're done. We've added a gas pump to create a vacuum and we've set up a water pump for when we want to extract the water. Though we'll probably want to add some automation before we seal this up. We now have 3 ranches. I wanted to speed up the production of stone hatch eggs. The bottom ranch is exclusively for stone hatches at the moment. The middle ranch is changing over to stone hatches. When both these ranches are full of stone hatches, I will delete the top ranch and use the extra space available to create a decent kitchen with a proper freezer section. Well, that's great to see. The saltwater geyser is erupting, which means we can finally get round to building our self-powered oxygen maker. And from there that leads on to producing our atmospheric suits. A great snowball effect there. It's nice how that works. We've also pumped out all the natural gas from the vent and removed all the polluted oxygen from there, which means we can remove the gas selector from just in front of the natural gas generators. I've set up my temporary refining facilities at the top of the map using the ice biome for cooling. Normally when I set up a temporary refiner I just find a big body of liquid and use that to cool down the refiner itself just by circulating it through. I've tried a slightly different method this time. This time I'm recirculating water through the cold biome and using temperature shift plates to keep it as cool as possible. This method works and I've been able to refine quite a lot of copper and steel, but I could improve on this design. The section in the cold biome that is recirculating the water through the radiant pipes needs to be larger. I need the water stored in there to be able to refill the ore refiner completely. So I either increase the piping or I add a liquid reservoir to the loop. At the moment this setup requires a little bit too much micromanaging. I can only put about 5 steel on to refine before it overheats. At the moment I don't know if it's worthwhile upgrading this setup. I've got enough metals to produce the self-powered oxygen maker, and once that's set up I can start to find my way to the other asteroid, and there I can access crude oil and then petroleum, and then I can make an industrial brick. Because once I've got petroleum I've got access to plastics, which means I can produce steam generators and produce cooling loops. I'd left the duplicates to do a task in the background while I was concentrating on other things, and now I remembered that I need to make sure I've tidied up after them. All the gas has been pumped out, so I just need to remove the gas pipe and the pump and seal this up. Probably a good idea if I had some automation for this as well. And here is the final task, the duplicate sealing the vent up. So here's the map of the base at the present time, seeing all that we've explored and all that we've built. To get to this view, if you don't know, it's Alt-S and then zoom out using the scroll wheel on your mouse. You can see the two vents that I haven't tapped yet, the natural gas vent on the left hand side of my base and the polluted water vent to the right of the natural gas vent that I have tapped. Before we go much further with the base, I need to make some decisions of where I'm going to place some important items. I need to decide the location of my self-powered oxygen maker and my industrial brick. As this will be my main base, I think I'm going to pressurise the whole asteroid with oxygen and using the atmospheric suits to access the industrial brick. I'll be producing the oxygen for 2 asteroids on this base. With me having 2 water vents and the steam vent, I should have enough water to produce all the oxygen I need. So with that said, the first thing I need to look for is where the teleporters are. And I found both of the matter transporters already and had my researcher analyse them. So with the outgoing transporter being on the left hand side of the map, I will build my self-powered oxygen maker on the left side of the map as well. The highlighted area just below the teleporters will hopefully be big enough for a full Rodriguez. And the second highlighted patch above where my temporary power station is should be where my industrial brick will go. So I can see the next episode will be me digging out the area where I want to place the Rodriguez and hopefully getting it built. And also adding some automation to the base. Let's send the duplicants over towards the teleporters, dig out that area and have a look around. We'll have a quick look at what the asteroid is like that we're going to be teleporting to, and then we'll have an overview of the duplicants because I haven't showed you them really yet. A metal-rich asteroid with a minor volcano, a liquid sulfur geyser and most importantly oil reserves and some access to some uranium as well, which is one thing I haven't built yet. I haven't built a reactor. Let's have a look at the duplicants that I have at the moment. We've got 2 legit city that's got 2 in grilling, 2 in improved carrying and 1 in improved tinkering. He's my primary chef. Beatir is into digging, construction and tidying, but he needs to get some work done on the hamster wheels. Hrothgar is digging, cooking and improved carry. Echo has demolition, 1 in hard digging and 1 in improved carry. Francis John, one of the original crew, he has demolition, he's got 1 in improved carry and he's got the ability to pilot a rocket. Luna has skills in construction and tidying, but most importantly they are a mechatronics engineer. Nathan's interested in construction, carrying and tidying, and I've made him do a little bit of digging as well. And finally we have Tony Advanced, who's into ranching and researching. He was also one of our original dupes. I'm getting very close to the morale limit on all of my duplicants. They need to get some better food into them, I feel. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the other side.